Hello, I'm Amy Zaley with the Jerusalem Connection Report Red Alert for Wednesday, February 28th. Attract, do not repel. When the BDS movement, the Boycott, Divest, and Sanction movement, came onto the scene a couple of decades ago, it claimed to be a human rights endeavor, but it's actually hurting very many innocent people. In my reports over the last few years, I've exposed how the BDS people hurts Jewish people based solely on their identity and not because of any particular thing they have done. Even if the claim by BDS is that they are against the policy of the government, Israeli government as a whole and not people, the outcome has shown the opposite effect. As well, the boycotts and other actions to strangle Israel's economy and to wipe it from the face of the earth is actually hurting a lot of people, not just the Israelis. Many people bank on the Israeli economy for their livelihoods as well as the human rights offered to them under Israeli law. These include, but are not limited to, employment rights, employment laws, protections regarding gender equality, non-discrimination laws for ethnicity, sexual preference, religion, and the like. So when I, or we, speak against groups that support the BDS movement or governments such as Iran's or the PA that unabashedly demonize Israel, using most often outright lies or fallacies and half-truths as their warrants, we need to be very careful not to vilify a whole group of people or paint a broad brush of any kind of hate or evil or in any way imply that they are not worthy of God's love and mercy. God sent His Son to save all of us, right where we are, regardless of where we were born or how we were raised. He wants all of us to be part of His flock. We are worth no more here in the West of God's mercy and grace than those who are living under the tyranny and oppression of their lying leaders. While in the Middle East, both Israel and Egypt, I have met many Arabs and Egyptians and other ethnicities who love and work and want to do business with Israelis or with Jewish people. They do see Israel as a light in their region, and they find their own leadership to be liars. They do want to work and live in peace with their neighbors. I've also met folks in the region who are blinded by the propaganda and who have bought into it hook, line, and sinker. And I've also met people that started out believing the lies, but as they interacted with Israelis and the Jewish people and saw for themselves the benefit to the region, they came to change their mind and now are outspoken supporters of Israel as a solution to the angst in the Middle East and not the problem. So let's remember, for example, while Iran might be the biggest sponsor of state terrorism and perhaps the most outspoken in its hatred of Israel, it is not the people of Iran who are our enemy or Israel's, but it is their leadership and probably very specific individuals in that leadership. And the same goes for the Palestinian Authority and the Palestinian people, many of whom are outspoken enemies of Israel, but they are convinced by their lying leadership, and therefore we must pray for them. They are sheep being led astray. As an example, an Israeli student named Nikki Cohen recently posted a cartoon on Twitter and Facebook commemorating and recollecting the glory of Persia, or the nation of Iran, before the 1979 revolution. Her parents were Farsi Jews who lived in Iran for generations, and they emigrated to Israel in the late 70s as a result of the revolution. Nikki recalls how her parents tell countless stories of the peace and joy and love that was within their community amongst their Farsi neighbors, their Islamic neighbors, before that revolution. So she made this cartoon and posted it in Farsi on Twitter and Facebook, and she was shocked with the reception that she received. Iranians of all ages were posting warm greetings and support to her and reminiscing as well with the glory that she recalled. Nikki stumbled upon a generation of Persians who are not in lockstep agreement with their ayatollahs and who actually risked their own lives to post their support to her. The responses were about how before the revolution the community loved its Jewish neighbors. Others noticed that they are currently against their leadership and that Israel offers their only hope of freedom and the light in the region. Many noted how they longed to be reunited with their Jewish neighbors who left the country because of the tyranny, and longed for that tyranny to be over and their Jewish neighbors to return. Palestinians, for example, many of them recognize that Israel is not their enemy, but that their own leadership is. Many of them are also blinded by their leadership's eyes. As we see children rail against the IDF soldiers, as we see college students chant and rally against the nation of Israel, we must not let any kind of hate or cynicism fill our eyes and hearts, but instead we need to ache for their hearts. We need to give them love and information. Somehow we have to, and that's always the question, the how. But on the BDS front, as an example, the University of British Columbia recently had 2 pro-Palestinian groups on campus post articles to their Facebook and Twitter accounts unabashedly spewing anti-Semitic libels and stereotypes. The group on campus, called Israel on Campus, using its intellect, posted a rebuttal demanding the articles be removed and that the campus administration admonish these groups. They also cited particular lines from the articles to make the point on how unjust and bigoted these postings are. Again, it was a matter of impressing. The convincing was in the heart of each reader and in the mind of each individual who reads these articles and comprehends just how loathsome they are. We can pray that their eyes are open and that the veil is lifted in this regard. So let us all keep sharing the truth, calling out the lies and seeking education opportunities with prayerful and thoughtful responses and rebuttals. Let us attract supporters rather than seem to be bullying or becoming self-righteous in our delivery. Let our righteous indignation be tempered with the spirit of the love of God that He imparted on us so that the souls can be found, that lost souls around the region can be found, and that Israel can find the peace that it is promised. Shavua Tov. Have a great week.